What is up, everyone? My name is Mason Marquette. I'm with Jackson Gamber. This is episode 7 of the Sports Key podcast. We're in season 2. I'll let Jack introduce our guest.
All right. He was given a full scholarship to play at St. Francis Xavier University in Canada. He's had experiences at Real Madrid, currently has opportunities to play professionally in Spain. He's played for teams such as Barnet FC, Stevenage FC, and even went through Arsenal's development academy at a young age, professional goalkeeper Cameron Gutt.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah, bitch so bad I wanna shoot like hoops while I'm riding in the coupe. I got what you want, it ain't nothing but a loop. Yeah. Don't listen to friends, they don't know what's best for you. Yeah. I want you, shoot like hoops while I'm riding in the coupe. I got what you.
So before we really get started, huge shout out to Cameron. We recorded with him once already, and something happened. So huge shout out to you for coming, not just on the first time, but back on. Really appreciate you being here. So,
thank you.
I'll let Jack take it away with the first question.
Okay, so if you could have a night out with 3 famous people, dead or alive, who would they be?
Oh, no. Dead or alive?
Yep.
That's kind of tough, First one has to be Hector Bellerin, for sure.
Yep.
For sure. Like, that's just a no-brainer. I really like Hector. Like, probably the person who I've wouldn't say idolized, but definitely I look up to as a footballer. He's a really cool guy. Like, he always talks about his toes as well, and like for me that's big as well. I'm somebody who's massive on him. Like, I literally just got one like a week ago on my back. So for me, Hector Bellerin for sure. Trying to think, it has to be 3, right?
Yeah.
The other 2, I want to say I listen to like a lot of Dave on a match day. Usually it's Dave. So probably him, and then maybe some Bryson Tiller as well. I like Bryson a lot.
Okay.
Like Bryson Tiller's so dope. So I think those 3.
List. Yeah. So, if you could, would you rather win the World Cup with your country or win the league with your favorite team?
These are tough, Thing is, like, I'm a massive Real Betis fan. Like, I love them. Like, literally now, like, our anthem we sing, like, we know we're gonna lose. Like, we're ready to lose. Like, our team's a joke. Like, most unserious team I think in Europe by far. So definitely Real Betis. Like I said, the team's so unserious. We had a guy playing for us for like years called Joaquin Sanchez, and he's quite an interesting character. He's tried to hypnotize a chicken on that live TV. There's like a picture of him, stark naked when we won the Copa del Rey, and how do I put it nicely? His manhood is on display, but he said it's photoshopped. It's not real. So,
what about the people who were there? What did they say to that? Like, it's not photoshopped.
No, obviously it's not Photoshop, but I mean, it's not the best picture of him, put it that way. So, so for me, definitely Real Betis win the league for sure.
I like that. So you've played for a number of teams. Which one, and do you think has had the biggest impact on you as a person, as a player, and as a teammate?
When I was at Barnet, I learned so much, and I was there for a while as well. So I learned a lot, to do with everything, and I made a lot of good friends there. Like, when I signed as a scholar when I was 15, like, my parents were buzzing, obviously, and there I learned a lot. Like, the coaches there, like James O'Dowd, and like the whole setup there, like, they really put discipline in you. Like, pre-season was brutal, absolute. They made me run. I'm a goalkeeper. I'm not I'm not fit to run. And like, it was brutal, but like, they really put discipline in us. And like, the fun thing about Barnet was that you'd train with the lads after like 4 p.m. I want to say, but you'd go to school with the lads as well. So we'd have like a lounge room, and like nobody in the school would go in there because we were so loud. It was stupid. Like, it was so funny. But like, Barnet for me taught a lot, but then like when I went on loan to Northwest London is when I think I've done a lot of my maturing as a person as well. Like, they had a goalkeeper there called Charlie, and he's like 37, 36. He's quite he's a bit older. I don't think you might be saying that, but he's a bit older. But like, he taught me a lot, and like, still to this day I talk to him. Like, if there's anything happening, anything going on, I'll be like, this has happened, that's happened. and he always he's almost like my mentor still to this day. So I think definitely Barney in Northwest London.
Gotcha. What would you say your key attributes are, and how do they make you stick out as a goalkeeper?
I think I'm really vocal. I think I can definitely applaud myself on that. I'm a very vocal goalkeeper. It doesn't mean I talk a lot of nonsense, but I mean, like, I'm quite commanding. I like to say that, but then again, the other thing I'd want to say is that, like, I'm a very aggressive goalkeeper in terms of, like, I play a very high line. So if my defenders are on the halfway line, I'll be miles out my box. Like, I try and base my game off like Raya, Onana, those kind of goalkeepers. So I think those two things definitely make me stand out. And then again, I love the ball at my feet. Like, I love it. I think it's really cool that goalkeepers have that luxury of being able to start attacks, you know, and start these like really good build out plays.
I like that.
What's your opinion on like keepers getting dropped? Like, for instance, like Aaron Ramsdale, like getting dropped for lack of distribution. Do you think it's like 100% necessary, or like, yeah?
I mean, look, with Arteta, his like style is very niche. You can say that, like, he has a clear, distinct vision. Arsenal wanted Reyes when he was in the Championship, for example, with Brentford. Like, they've wanted him for ages. Arteta's wanted to sign him forever. At the end of the day, Ramsdale was a great keeper, don't get me wrong, and I think there's definitely not much between him and Raya, but I do understand it to an extent because Ramsdale's nowhere near as good with the ball at his feet as Raya. Like, Raya's unreal. I mean, like, I remember, I can't remember who they played now when they won like 4-1 at home, and like he had a side volley, and then I think it might have been Havertz who just took it down the line and passed it to Jesus, and it all came from Raya. Whereas Ramsdale would have never done that. Obviously, that's me, making an assumption, but that's just the truth.
That's fair. I mean,
I would say that Ramsdale's a slightly better, like, can just get to the ball faster, I'd say. Like I've seen
better shot stopper.
Yeah, he's just a better shot stopper. But
yeah, no, for sure.
There's only, and like even with keepers, there's only a handful of times throughout the year that they like really add to an attack. I feel like they do it occasionally, but
like Allison, like you'll see like him get an assist to like Mo Salah or something.
But it's not often enough that I feel like it's worth it yet.
Okay.
But
yeah,
I don't know. I'm not the biggest soccer fan, or I've never played, so I'm also looking at it from a different perspective.
Yeah, no, I mean, Ramsdale was a great keeper. Like, when he first signed, I remember he had this side volley against, I think it was Crystal Palace, and he just smashed it to Odegaard, and I was like, wow, unreal. But he lost that confidence. It's the same with, like, I look at Onana, everyone's slandering him, and I'm like, when he played in the Champions League, I'm like, holy, I was looking at him going, he's the best goalkeeper in the world. Honestly, I was genuinely saying that last season. I'm like, wow, this guy's unreal. And then literally he's come to Man United, and obviously he's not performing as he should be, but there's like other factors to it as well. But like look at Ramsdale when he was put back in. It was against Brentford. I remember his first game back after he got dropped. He was nervy as
he
was really nervy, you know. So people need to. I think that's the other thing is people don't take into thought is like different teams, different styles, different cultures, different setups, different countries, and all that. You know.
Yeah.
So what's the biggest difference playing in somewhere like Hungary and somewhere like England, where in England the soccer is known to be the absolute best in the world?
Or the football?
Nah, soccer.
Hungary is, I mean, when I was there, it was interesting. I wouldn't say it's bad at all, but like the coaches have the utmost respect. Nobody talks back to the coaches. Now, obviously, I'm a London boy, put it that way, but London boys like to talk back to the coaches a bit more lippy than like certain lads from England. But in Hungary, everyone respects the coach. I remember this one time, it was like my first session. Obviously, my family were buzzing, so they were sitting in the stand watching it. One of the goalkeepers, they brought in like another academy goalkeeper, and he was having like an absolute stinker. Like he was doing bad, really, really playing bad. And the goalkeeper coach, he looks up to the sky with his like hands like this, and he's like, Jesus Christ, please come down.
Like, oh my God.
Mate, like that, like stuff like that, like the coaches there, they have the utmost respect, and nobody better than I. Obviously, there's me trying to not laugh. Like I was made to do push-ups every other session for no reason. He's like, the goalkeeper coach is always like, I'll tell you after the session why you have to do push-ups. Like,
you never learned, did you?
2-3 years, and I'm still waiting on the answer. But no, it's You know, it's a lot different. Like, and in England, I'd say there's definitely a bit more like, I want to say the players have a bit more leeway in getting moves, stuff like that. But like in Hungary, it's not really the same. The coaches have the respect. You respect the coach, and that's it. You know, there's no talking about nothing like that.
Gotcha. What would you say like the level compares? Like, is it like on par or?
It's not far off. I mean, obviously, I don't want to compare like Hungarian First Division to like Premier League because that's a joke, obviously. But I mean, like in terms of like the youth, like I think there's definitely a lot more better players in England. I think that's just how it is because England's a bigger country and better at football, but it's not huge. Like the golfing quality isn't that big. I'd say in Hungary, teams I find like more organized, if anything. They're tactically sometimes more aware. In England, they rely a lot enough like on athleticism and even just technical ability. Whereas I think in Hungary, like the tactics are just like valued so highly, you know. So from that aspect, I'd say maybe even tactically, there's more advancement in Hungary than England. But then again, I've never played for like a Premier League, like top academy, you know. So when I was 16, 17, so maybe I'm sure their tactics are better, you know. When I was at Barnet, for example, it was all about organization, you know, that was our thing, to be fair. So I can't really make that argument, but from other teams that I know of who are better than us, there wasn't like a whole lot of tactics. It was more a reliance on like technical ability. How's this player going to do? How will he perform? You know, like this one time I remember we played like our rivals. This was when I was at Barney and we lost 4-1. And honestly, we were so much more organized in terms of defensively, but they just had better players on the day and they just ruined us, you know.
So who would you say your footballing idol is and why?
I've got some weird ones. People are going to be shocked by this. Like one of mine, this is so random, but it's João Felix.
Okay.
For me, the reason why I like João Felix a lot is because people don't. So when people look at football, they go, "Oh, he's playing rubbish right now." You know, just sack him off. He's not doing well. When João Felix was doing badly at Atletico, obviously I don't know like how much you guys know about his ex-girlfriend, but she cheated on him like 3 times or something crazy like that. You know, people don't really take that into thought. And then he was sidelined by his coach for like months on end. And then he went to Chelsea. He done really well at Chelsea, obviously. Oh, not really well, but I mean, relatively well for a player new to the Premier League. And, you know, he's still only, 23, 24. And then now he's at Barca and he's smashing it. I think it's a nice comeback story. But like I said, Hector Bellerin for me is huge. Like, I think footballers often like we see ourselves just as footballers and footballers only. Whereas for me, if I step on the pitch, I'm Cameron the footballer. But when I step off the pitch, I'm just normal Cameron, everyday Cameron. You know, I'm just like everyone else. Nothing really changes. So I like Hector Bellerin about that, and like the whole idea of expression. Like I said, tattoos for me are huge. Like I got my first one when I was like 15, I think, or something like that. So like for me, it's a form of expression, and Hector Bellerin, he also talks about that as well. But then like I look at like Spanish goalkeepers, the other weird one, which like people are probably going to laugh at me for this, and I know I'm going to get some stick from the lads, but Kepa. For me, Kepa, when he was at Bilbao, when he was 2021, he was like unreal. Like I was saying he's going to be Spain's number 1 for sure. There's no way. And I think he was for a little brief period, but
yeah, I think
he went to Chelsea. Yeah, literally for a tiny bit. But then he went to Chelsea, and then obviously he had that whole incident with Sarri, and like he was like saying not to come off. And I just think that honestly, I don't even think that's his fault. I think that should have been discussed before the game, and I don't think it was. I think it was a heat of the moment kind of thing, where he thought he's getting subbed off because he's injured, but I think it was more tactical for the penalties. But you know, for me, I think Kepa again is one. I think he's a good keeper. Right now, he's struggling at Real Madrid. You know. But I mean, then again, you know, to say you play for Chelsea and Real Madrid, come on,
yeah,
like, you know, who can say that? You know, like it's crazy.
Can you ever see yourself like doing something like that, like telling the manager, like, no, like I'm not coming off, like how he did?
No, my family would kill me. No way. No chance. No.
Too much respect for the managers.
Yeah.
Too much respect for the managers.
Yeah. Nah, so, I couldn't. I actually couldn't.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
sorry.
So we saw on your Instagram bio that you have Voss GK there. How did that partnership become about? And just tell us how that happened.
So it came about during lockdown, I want to say. So just to put this out there, this was when lockdown rules were lifted before getting any trouble. Me and Lee, started training when I was around 15. And he had these gloves called Zero Grip. Now, I don't think they were on sale at the time. It's just something he gave lads to wear during training. And it was basically gloves with no grip. And then we kept in contact, and then we trained a couple more times. I can't remember the exact dates, but we kept in contact. Like I have his WhatsApp, like we still talk. And then that when Voss came out, I guess it just, it came about. And I mean, like, Voss is like unreal. Like, I mean, even like Barcelona's academy goalkeepers wear them. Real, who's sponsored by a complete different glove brand, wears them in training. Like, they're unreal. I've actually got them here if you don't mind me showing them.
Yeah, go ahead.
They're like, mate, they're unreal. Like, I've got the strap ones with the black latex, and like they're unreal. And I think one of the things is like how thin the latex is. So most gloves are kind of bulky, so you can't even feel the ball. Your glove is absorbing all the impact. Whereas these thin gloves, you can feel every like inch of the ball. Yeah, mate. Honestly, unreal. Like one of my favorite gloves I've ever had. If not even one of my favorite, is my favorite glove. Like they are unreal. And then they have these like training gloves with no grip, mate. Crazy, like actually crazy. It is mental. It's like you can't catch anything in them, but when you start catching them, you're like, wow. Like I went up to train, I want to say in July, up to Newcastle, and we were training in the gloves, and like first day I couldn't catch anything. I was hopeless. I could not catch anything. And then second day I was like catching them fine, and then third day I was flying. So for me, like that's massive. And then like my like relationship with Lee, it goes beyond Voss. Like if anything happens, football related, even just like things off the pitch, like friendships, girls, for example, anything happens, I'm on the phone to Lee. I'm like, Lee, this has happened. He's like, who do I need to call? What do I need to do? He's always got my back, like Lee's unreal. So like that, I mean, like I'm saying, like even though I'm, about Voss a lot, it goes beyond Voss. For me, like me and Lee are like really, really close.
Yeah, it's always great to have like those sort of like connections that are kind of go beyond the pitch. But would you say like a non-grip like helps and like benefits your like playing? Because like non-grip, like to me just sounds like it wouldn't, because like obviously you want the grippy gloves, the gloves that'll like stick to the ball.
But then once you're using this for training, once you get in the game, everything sticks.
Yeah,
it makes
right.
it feel like you're amazing, probably.
Exactly, mate. And it's all about technique. Like people rely too much on the latex, or on like the stick of the gloves, like you said. Whereas if you use those non-grip gloves, mate, they completely change your technique, the way you catch balls, your timing on crosses and everything. It's like one of the bad habits I had when I was training with Lee before I properly got into it was, and it actually Ramsdale does this, so maybe that's why he's being dropped on crosses.
Oh,
No, I'm joking, but on crosses, I'd have my arms up, so like literally in the air, and it's like it just makes it harder to move. Like you're literally just like, I don't even know why. Like looking at it now, I'm like, why have I done that? Whereas it's all about keeping your arms down, being really like late on the timing, so you have as much like momentum and movement on the ball, that kind of thing.
So how would you say partnering with a brand like Voss GK has helped you as a player, and has it impacted you as a person as well?
I mean, I think it's pretty cool. Just being sponsored, like being with and being sponsored by them, like I'll say to Lee, I've put in this order, and then he throws in like another pair of gloves and 3 gloves, and like that's really cool, and like sometimes he shows me like the colorways and the designs before they've even come out. So it's cool. I think as a person, like I said, like it goes beyond. Like Lee helps me a lot, and it's pretty cool that I'm talking to an ex-Rangers goalkeeper. Like not a lot of people can say that. He's like. He had a decent career in Scotland. So for me, like I guess I kind of have that like barrier almost from like falling completely. Whereas if something happens in life and footy, I just call Lee, and then we have these conversations where we talk it out, So yeah, no, Voss and Lee, modern day GK, honestly, they're great, and they're really changing goalkeeping for the better.
So sounds like either you or Lee has to send me a pair of gloves.
They do.
But I try to help him out, so I need a better pair.
You do. No, you do.
We gotta figure something out.
So, if you can meet one professional footballer, besides a goalkeeper, and I'm just gonna say this just because you mentioned him a couple times, besides Hector Bellerin, and you could only ask for one piece of advice, what would it be and who would it be?
That's tough. That's actually put me on the spot differently. Wow. There's a footballer at Real Betis called Chimi. He's Argentinian, and he had like a really, really rough upbringing. He's massive on like anti guns, anti gang violence. Obviously in Argentina it's a huge thing. So he's like a madman. He's known again in Spain as like a madman. He's crazy. Like the guy's nuts. I think half the time he's not even playing football, he's just trying to take out people. He's putting some like really bad challenges, but like for him, I'd love to know his like outlook, and like he's a massive advocate on on our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And for me, being able to talk to an athlete like that who advocates that kind of things for me is huge. So definitely Chimmy.
I like that. So he's against all violence unless he's on the pitch.
Unless he's on the pitch, yeah. Unless he's on the pitch.
It seems like all the people you like are kind of like crazy. Like,
oh man, you know what, mate? I mean, I'm a little crazy.
No, not chickens, chicks.
No, it was chickens.
It was chickens.
Yes, it was
it
was a literal chicken. I
thought he said
interview.
chicks.
No,
Oh my God, that makes it so much worse. That makes it so much worse.
Dude,
No,
he was like, he showed me the video. Like, he like literally like put both his hands like on his head and then just kept like moving them. And then he moved his finger away, and the chicken just stood there like.
So did it work?
I guess.
I thought he said chicks this whole time. I thought he was talking about women.
He said it didn't work.
No, I think it worked. Like I'm obviously, mate, but he's crazy. But the thing is though, like in that part of Spain, it's called Andalusia, and it's like they have this thing called guasa. It's like banter, but like they are so unserious, and like that kind of rubs off me. I remember the other once, it must have been a few weeks ago, I was training, and one of the lads turns around and he looks at me and he's like, "Do you ever say anything serious?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, I try, I try and be lighthearted with everything, and just not take things too seriously. Like my dad is the exact same. Like literally, whenever I'm trying to be serious with him, I can't have a serious conversation with him. Like he always finds a way to say something, it's like something stupid or just something hilarious.
He's gotta.
Yeah.
That's just how he is.
Yeah, literally.
So far in your career, what's been the most memorable or most important moment for you?
So when I was 15, obviously, I finally signed my scholar with Barnet, which is huge. It's like a big milestone in my career. And 15 was young, obviously. Like I was playing with the under-19s. I was the youngest in the team. And then when we travelled we played Banbury, which is like a non-league team. So that was huge. Like that was massive. I remember like it was my first proper time getting a taste of like proper academy football. That was massive. And like I think we won 5-1, I want to say. I think that game I got kicked in the face really badly. I have like a massive I got this bump on my lip right here. Still like years on now. It's been 4 years. So no, I would say that game it what's the word? Signified so many things, like from playing for Barnet, which was like my boyhood club, literally 5 minutes like from where I lived, and then to be able to play, what was it, 4 years up, like it was huge and it was massive. And like funny enough, like after that game, I played and carried on as a starting keeper for the under-19s, which for me was like, it was huge, like really, really proud moment for me. And then again, like the other, like I guess, even though it wasn't a match moment, is like when I was able to train with the Real Madrid goalkeeper coaches, that was crazy. I honestly, some days I just like, I think about it and I just start smiling because I'm like, wow, that was crazy. Like, I was training with like some of these goalkeepers who were like unreal, like unreal, and like the goalkeeper coaches there were like crazy. There was this goalkeeper coach called Gordina, and he was the third choice goalkeeper behind like Casillas and Dudek when they were there. So like, mate, it was crazy. Like it was like, wow, like this is actually happening. Like I've still got some of my like training gear, and I look back at the pictures some days, and I'm just like, it's crazy.
Yeah, you sent us that picture. How old were you then?
Yeah, I want to say 15 again. That was like 15 or 14. That was a really good year for me. When I was 15 or 14 is probably when I made my most progress. That was really good.
How did that come about? Like, how did you come about like playing at Real Madrid with the coaches?
Well, one of the goalkeeper coaches in England knew somebody there, and then we got connected. I want to say in July, because I flew out in September, October, around that time. So I flew out then, and then it kind of like materialized. I was there for like a month and a bit, enjoyed it like crazy, and like the nutrition and the dietitians there, and then the training facilities. Like I remember once I was walking to training, and this was when Bale was still at Real Madrid, and he pulls up in this really nice white car, and it's like wow.
Oh
And then I see like, and then like 5 minutes later, thing pulls up Benzema. It's like, it's just like nuts. Like
I would have been in complete shock. Because
mate, I was shaking. I was walking around shaking around the training ground.
at the time, like they were considered like the best players in the world, like at like the top, like next to Messi, Ronaldo. That's crazy. In your career so far, you've had a lot of like loan spells. What club would you say impacted you the most?
From loans or from like permanent?
Either one.
Yeah, all together.
I mean, look, being here in Canada, huge eye opener for me. Like being so far away from my family is like crazy, So for me, off the pitch here, because like I have to do certain things which I never had to do before. I don't have the luxury of having a car here. So like some of these walks to go to the grocery stores are like crazy. But I mean, like for me in general, it just has to be Barnet. Like I was there for so long, and like I learned so much there, but so much like it really gave me a huge eye opener, and it opened like doorways to like loan spells and loan moves, and like semi-pro football in England. So that was huge for me.
Do you have any pre-match routines or superstitions?
I don't believe in like superstitions, obviously. Like I just believe in Jesus and that's it. But I mean, like I have like a week's like preparation where like I know from day one, from Monday, I'm training and putting in my work. So on Saturday I can play well. That's just how it is. So my diet is completely clean. I have a lot of proteins, a lot of good fats. I go to the gym usually twice a day. So I try and keep my match preparation good, and then on match day, have some carbs, something like that. But it's usually quite light. All in all, like on match day, I listen to like a lot of music. I listen to a lot of reggaeton. One of the songs I have to listen to before every game, and like I even listen to it in the shower. It's like I have to listen to it all the time. It's a song by now. It's called Maluma. It's called Feliz de los Cuatro, and actually the song is about having multiple partners. But for me, I don't know why. I always listen to it. I always listen to it. It's just it's a banger. It's a tune. So that's usually how it is. And then warm up, like I usually take quite light. I've seen some goalkeepers do crazy warm ups, and mine are quite light. There's some crosses in, some volleys, some distribution, and then I'm back in the changing room. And then obviously I pray before games and after games. But that's really it. I don't really do anything spectacular,
There's from my experiences, like there's always something, like if you're playing your pre-match like playlist and you're like on the way or like you're about to start, like something about like just the music just like gets you in the zone, and it's just really good.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like
because you play golf.
Whoa. You gotta set the tone when you're golfing.
So you rolled up to your golf matches, sitting there listening to hype music?
Both AirPods in, listening to country. Every day. That's standard. Hold on. That's just me. But in the same way, it puts you in a zone and it gets you ready for what you're about to go do.
Yeah.
Like for a soccer match, you want to get hype. For golf, it's a more mental sport, I'd say. Like for a lot of it, not always, but it sets my mindset, gets me more calm, and it gets me ready.
Gotcha.
Stop talking crap. I'll knock you out.
So, in Canada, obviously, like their main thing is like hockey. Have you gotten into hockey at all, or like have you tried to like kind of stay away from it?
No, a little bit. Like, I know a few things. I know McDavid, the Oilers, and all that, but it's not something I'm crazy about. Like, I'll still try and I just watch Real Betis. Honestly, like literally, I'm waiting for every match day. Today we got we lost. Hector Bellerin's sold very hard. Even though I love him, but he's sold very, very hard. Like the first goal, it's bad to watch. But no, I mean, hockey's not really my thing. It's not something I've completely got into. People love basketball here as well, and it's like I can't really get into it. Like it's a cool sport, don't get me wrong, but it's just it's not my thing.
Gotcha.
Hockey's the only sport that I physically can't get into. I've tried.
It's tough.
I think it's just about watching it on TV. Like it's impossible for me to do. You can't see the puck half the match.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just it's not my thing. Every other sport, you put it on, I'm watching the TV for the entirety of the match or the game, whatever it is.
I just like that you can fight.
Even that's gone away a decent amount. It used to be a lot more fighting.
Like, just like at random times, they'll just sit there and you'll look over and they're just beating the.
Bro, they should bring that into other sports.
Yo, imagine if they had that like in soccer, football, like just all of a sudden you put in a bad tackle and then they have like this little like 30-second period to where they could just fight. Like that would be absolutely.
I don't know how I feel about that.
You don't want to get hit.
No, I don't want to get hit. No.
I mean, not many do.
He already has one bump on his lip. He doesn't need another bump.
Exactly. Mate, listen, I've had sense knocked into me multiple times. I don't need it anymore. I've got it. You know what I mean? I've got it.
You're done with the contact?
Oh, I'm done, mate. I'm done. I've been hit enough,
Golf is a non-contact sport, 100%.
Oh my god.
I've never gotten hit. Never gotten tackled.
Golf clubs.
Have you have you ever like received a red card like at all for any like bad tackles?
No, I don't think so. I got yellow once. There was a huge brawl and literally like everyone got booked. I didn't even do anything. I just got booked. But everyone just got booked, mate. Just one of those ones. But no, I've been booked for like that, and then like time wasting. I've been booked maybe twice, I think, in my whole life. But nothing. I'm not really a fighter. I'm kind of a chill guy. Like, I'm kind of laid back. Sometimes in the heat at the moment, I'll say something to like the ref or like another player, and then after the game, I go, "Sorry, mate, I shouldn't have said that." But no.
So outside of soccer or football, what is your favorite sport to watch or even participate in?
I thought you were going to take that somewhere completely else. I thought that was going to be a different question.
What could it have
been? I don't really know. Like I like handball a lot. I know that's kind of weird, but handball's pretty cool. I think it's a cool sport. In Europe, it's massive. I know here it's nothing, but handball's kind of cool. To be honest, mate, I'm just football mad. Like everything's football. Everything's football. Literally, I've got like a massive picture of Iker Casillas on my wall at home. Like literally, everything's football.
So, what question did you think I was going to ask?
I thought you were going to ask when you're off the pitch, how often do you fight? I'm like no. You know what? You could have interlinked that with a night out question. You're like, how often do you get here on a night out?
Okay, so you mentioned that you received mentorship from like the Real Madrid coaches, and you train with the Real Madrid coaches, and you mentioned some other names from different clubs. What would be the best piece of advice that you've gotten from any of them?
Both Jake and Lee. So Jake Murphy's my coach in London. Mate, he is. He might be the funniest person I've met in my life. Like, he, by the way, he does not speak Spanish, but during training, he'll pretend to, he knows like a few phrases, and he'll just start saying them to me like during training, and like the other goalkeepers are looking at us like these two have lost the actual plot. He'll just start. He'll start dancing during training. Oh, he's a joke, but great goalkeeper coach. But he's he's not real. He's not real. But both Jake and Lee say control the controllables, and I just take that like not just in football but off the pitch. Like I know there's certain things I can't control: agents, coaches, fans, critics, and all that. Okay, but then I focus on myself. So even in training, like if I know that the pitch is going to be wet, the ball's going to be wet, I'm not going to try to hold everything. I'm just going to try and parry it into good areas. So for me, like to be able to control the controllables, that's I think that's a great saying.
So we've already talked about you going on loan before. But to be able to go on loan multiple times, play for a bunch of different teams, how are you able to stay focused, like with all the moving, with all the traveling, and how do you keep your focus and not go off the wrong side of the road?
It's tough. Sometimes, like mentally, I struggle, and it's sometimes I doubt myself a little bit. But we all have these highs and lows, and don't get too high with the highs, don't get too low with the lows. Just keep a strong head, and that's football. Football's so unpredictable. I think football might be one of the most unpredictable sports ever. Like, especially when you're not a top player in the world, you could be in one country the next minute, and the next minute you're moving over to the other side of the world. So for me, it's like I just focus on playing football. Trying to play my best, and that's about it.
Canada by far was your biggest move, right?
I mean, in terms of like geography, yeah, for sure.
Were you nervous moving that far away?
I wouldn't say I was nervous. It was weird. It was definitely weird. Like, everything here is different. I come from London, where like you're always on edge, you're always on your toes, because it's a population of 15 million and it's a city, like it's huge,
Yeah.
So really, really different here. Like the culture as well here, is completely different. Like, yeah, I've definitely tried to make myself a little bit more Canadian. When you're talking about country, honestly, I can't tolerate it. But there's only one song I can tolerate. It's by Morgan Wallen, Seven Summers. Tune.
That's
Tune.
right there.
Tune. But like, no, but I mean, like, it's, it was a little bit nerve wracking, but I mean, like, I was prepared. I was like, I'm just going to go here, try to do my thing. And that's that's all you can do at the end of the day.
Do you think playing in Canada with different people, a different type of playing style, affected you at all or made you change how you play?
No, not really. I find it actually, it's not too, I guess it's kind of similar to the way we play back home. Like, there's not a huge difference. I haven't really changed the way I play. Like, I'm going to be me, that's what makes me unique. So no, not really.
Outside of football in Canada, what was the biggest culture shock when you first got there?
Oh, okay. I need to try to think. I have to be careful. Listen, I can't get caught slipping it. Definitely. I would. You know what? This is going to be weird, but the food, like the amount of products and food here is a joke. Like, and like people's diets here is a joke, mate. Like, I'm just saying it as it is. Like, the stuff people put in their bodies, I'm like, you don't have to be joking it. Like, I'm not saying I'm a health guru. I'm not. I'm far from it. But that was kind of the culture shock, and like, I don't know. It's a lot different here. Like, the nights out here are a lot different. I'm used to clubbing back home. I mean, like, I wouldn't go often, but I mean, once a month I'd go with my boys. Like, I had like a group of friends. And we always used to go out. Me, Mattel, Luis, Jason. Like, it was us four. We just go out, be fun. Whereas here, it's not really clubbing. Like, there's something called the Inn here, and they do like country nights. Mason, you'd love it, mate. You'd be all over it. But I'm like, all over it, mate. But I mean, for me, like, I don't listen to country. I'm strictly like Spanish music, a lot of reggaeton and all that. So that's also a bit of a culture shock. The weather, the weather,
Yeah.
crazy. It's mental. Like, it gets cold here. Like, the other day, I was going to the gym. It said it was like -10 outside. I checked, and it says it feels like -20. I'm like, great. This is going to be fun. Right? Yeah. So no, I'd say those things. I say one thing I wouldn't call it a disadvantage. It depends on how you look at it. But my accent doesn't always do me favors. There's obviously some advantages to it. I don't need to say it. I don't think you have to be a rocket scientist to figure out what the advantages of the accent are going to be. But but I mean, like. But I mean, like, there's definitely some like.
He tried to keep a straight face. He tried.
No, I can't.
It's all good, bro.
No, flashbacks from first semester, mate. But oh man, it actually cracked me up. No, but like, I'd say one of the things that is the accent. Like I say, like, I've had people that mimic my accent, and I'm like, okay, funny. why don't I try and mimic yours? You know, like it's stupid things like that. I mean, it gets funny to a point where it doesn't, you know. So I guess that's the thing. But I mean, like, I think like the country's pretty cool. Like, it's massive. It's huge. I have to say that, like, Canada's a huge country, and like you get like cultural differences in between like provinces. Like people think differently if they're from like, I don't know, let's say Alberta compared to like here Nova Scotia, you know, for example. So yeah, no, it's interesting.
So you talked about the ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
Something in Canada might have like 17 things for ingredients. In America, we have at least 25, 30.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it's worse
you
in
guys,
America
you guys
than
have
it is
lost
in
it.
Canada.
Yeah, you guys have lost the plot, mate.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel fine.
And no, it's definitely bad. Like,
you do got to look out for what you're eating.
Yeah, like when I was in England, though, like I feel like you can't tell the difference, but I'm sure that it's a lot
Everything's just more natural,
like, a lot more beneficial, like for your health.
No, for sure.
You mentioned accents. Have you ever tried like doing like an American or like Canadian accent?
We're not doing this. No, we're not doing. No, we're not. We're not. If you're not gonna make me do an accent, we're not doing this. No, no.
Might not be a bad idea.
No, that's not happening. Nah. No, but sometimes I used to have a friend and I'd always used to like mimic her accent. It was pretty funny, and she loved it. Obviously, she thought it was hilarious. But no, it's not really something I do in my spare time. I don't really go around mimicking accents, you know.
So back to the footballing aspect of the podcasting. How do you handle criticism or setbacks in your career?
For me, it depends who the criticism is from. Like I said, Jake for me is really good. Like I'll be training and Jake goes, don't do this, do that during while I'm doing the drill. And then I'll, in my head during the training session, I'll go, okay, so I need to do this, I need to do that. But if it's just normal creates, like everyday people, I like to look at their careers and look at mine, have a little laugh, and just carry on. That's life, and that people can criticize me all they want. That's up to them. But not everyone's gonna like me, and if they did, then I'm doing something wrong. Just put it simply, then I must be doing something wrong. So criticism is fine. It depends also, like if it's from your coaches, definitely take the criticism. You just have to accept it. And sometimes it's actually good to get criticism. I like criticism from coaches because then I know what to work on. But if your coach is just saying, you're a bad player, I think it could even be a personal matter at that point, and then you have to go, okay, so why is he saying this? No, setbacks are also like another thing, which is great. Like I said, don't get too low with the lows. Like literally, just keep a straight head, and next time you know what to do better. And that's life, and that's football.
Yeah. What would you say the most challenging aspect of being a goalkeeper is? And and how do having those challenges help motivate you?
I think it's the mental thing. I think it's the mental thing. Like one mistake and that's it. Like, you're done. Like forget about it. Like your match is gone. Obviously, that's not the attitude you should have. But that's the reality. You make one mistake, you just you could potentially cost a goal. But for me, like I guess if anything, it motivates me to have a stronger mental game. Like I've just learned to embrace mistakes. I know I'm going to make at least 2 or 3 mistakes a game, like everybody else. If that's maybe a misplaced pass, maybe I could have parried the shot better. Stuff like that. Maybe my talking to my defenders wasn't as great, for example. Then you kind of have to take those. But I think goalkeeping is all mental. I think it's 90% mental. I think the rest. I think it's 5% athleticism, then 5% technical, but it's 90% mental.
So we've had 2 other goalkeepers on the podcast, and they both said that goalkeeper is the hardest position in sports. Can you agree and side with that?
100%. I don't see it. That's not even like, that's just factual. Like I actually can't think of anything that's harder. Like you've got to fill in like certain athletic requirements and certain technical requirements, and one mistake, like I said, and you're done. Let's say if a quarterback makes a mistake, right? And I know that it can be hefty if a quarterback does make a mistake. He's got like another set of like, of downs after the next play. Obviously the defense comes in and whatnot, but then after that, like the quarterback gets another goal. if I make a mistake off a cross, it's a goal. It's done. Like, that's so significant.
Right.
The significance of a mistake of a goalkeeper is far more like detrimental than to like the significance of any other position.
Now, what about if you're a pitcher in the MLB and you let up a home run?
You still
Well,
have,
I mean, but like the issue is that like there isn't as much room for mistakes in like, let's say, baseball as there is to just goalkeeping in general. I think that's kind of a big thing.
like baseball, I feel like the games are a lot longer, and you're constantly like
Well, it depends on what kind of pitcher you are. Like, say you're the closing pitcher, you come
Yeah.
into a game and you let up a home run, you immediately go from having the lead to losing a game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess.
And then at that point, there could only be an inning left, and there's not a lot of time to come back.
Mm-hmm. But you also have, I feel like, more given opportunities that are literally, like, pun intended, on a plate, and like
That was bad.
Okay,
that was really
but
bad.
that
was bad.
On a
But,
plate.
I feel like goalkeeper is definitely harder than being a pitcher.
I think it really just depends on. It depends. I feel like mentally, being a pitcher, depending on where you're at in the game, could be harder. Like, I feel like they're both just more like he was saying, very mental position. I think it really depends on where you're at in the game, but I might have to give it to the pitcher for the mental battle.
Maybe. So I'm gonna give you a little example here. So, the game starts off, quick, possession change. The other team gets the ball, have a breakaway, and then you concede extremely early. What is your mentality now going into the rest of the game?
It's the exact same as it was from minute 1, minute 0, whatever, before I conceded. It's the exact same. We try to get the win. Clean sheets for me don't mean much if we're not winning. I think winning is more important than a clean sheet. So, okay, we conceded. Now we've got plenty of time to get back. Obviously, now my passes are going to be a lot more forward thinking. I want to play the ball a lot more forward. But you have to be patient. It's the exact same. The game plan, it's the exact same. The show must go on.
What tips and advice and motivation would you give to young players trying to make it to the next level?
I think have fun. For me, if you're not having fun, then what's the point? Like, I play football because I love it. It makes me happy. Have fun. But definitely, if it's something that makes you happy, then put all your power into it. Like everything you've got. It doesn't mean don't have a social life, but I mean don't go out on a Friday and a Saturday. Maybe just go out on the Friday night. Or maybe just don't go out at all.
Yeah.
Or that. So I guess that's that, and then also just like being smart about it. Like at the end of the day, like I said, sports in general is mental. It's all mental. Like you got to have that confidence to back yourself and go, I'm going to play well. I'm going to do well. I'm going to do great. So I think it's definitely the confidence and like the commitment. Most the 2 C's is what's it's what's important.
Now, what would you say exactly step 1 and step 2 is for someone who is just coming to age like say 16?
I would say step 1 is definitely have some sort of a plan. Football, like I said, is so unpredictable. Like if you told me last year I'm going to be in Canada, I would have laughed in your face. Like I would have been like, this guy's taking a mick. But no, definitely I have some sort of a plan. So whether that's you want to go play semi-pro and then get spots from there, or go through like a pro academy, that. And then one of the things, and this is a little bit controversial, but I think in the modern day of football, it's about who you know. Like I know so many lads who are unreal players and they just don't know the right people. So having some sort of agency, something like that, finding the right person to back you for, however long you need, then, so be it. I think those two are, pretty important.
So connections, people at different clubs, managers at past clubs, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So you just mentioned, if someone told you were going to be in Canada a year ago, you would laugh at them. If you could describe your time in Canada so far in one word, what word would it be?
I want to say roller coaster. Had some really good times, some times where I felt alone, but it's been fun. Like, I mean, you know, just keep in mind, I go to university, and the university I go to is classified as a party school. You know, that's not to say I go out often. I really don't. I'm more of a stay at home kind of guy, but you know, it's pretty crazy. You know, there's some crazy stuff. You know, it happens here, but it's been fun. Like, I mean, I was in Halifax for New Year's, and Halifax, like for me, like it's a pretty cool town. It's different for me. Like, emphasis on how I called it a town, people would call it a city. Here for me, it's small. Like, it's not. I wouldn't call it like a robust city, but like, yeah, no, it's really different. Because the people here are different. Everything's different here. So I think roller coaster is the right word to like and describe it.
I like that.
Now, in the time you spent in Canada, would you say like how would you compare it to other places like England, like how we said a little bit ago with Hungary?
I think in England, I felt really at home, as in terms of when I was playing there. Like I said, the training I was 5 minutes from my house. You know, if I had a bad game, I'd just go home and vent to my parents and go, look, I played horrible today. I know I played bad. Or look, we've had a really good game. You know, I'd call up my boys, Mattel, Jason, Luis, all those guys. We'd go out, we'd get food, whatever, you know. But here, it's, you know, it's different. Like I said, I'm in rural Canada, you know, completely different to like big city London. So like, and even when I was at Bayern, I walked around like I was at home. Like literally, I like the people who worked at the Starbucks there, I knew. Like I'd go in, you know, hi, everyone like knew my name. So that was one thing. And then in Hungary, it was different. In Hungary, one thing I'd say was really humid. Like that still sticks with me. I was like done after training sessions. My day was done. I could train at 12 and I'd sleep throughout the whole day because I was so tired. And then, like I said, in Hungary, the discipline thing is huge again. Like everyone has respect for the coaches. You know, like the coaches could say anything about you. You just have to suck it up. So, you know, I think that's the difference.
Are you more like cold weather or hot weather?
Hot for sure. I like my hot weather. Like here, like I'm literally an ice cube walking around nowadays. It's too cold. Like the other day was like 10 degrees or something. I saw a girl in like a top, like just a t-shirt, and I was like, what? Like I was shocked. I'm like, how are you doing that? Like I'm freezing. I'm like in like a jacket and like a hoodie and like 2 t-shirts underneath. And you know, for me, it's, you know, hot weather for sure.
And it was right then that they all knew you were from somewhere else.
Yeah, literally. I don't fit in with the locals at all. I'm trying to do, you know, I'll try next time I'm at like a grocery store, I'll just blast Morgan Wallen on my phone, and then he's definitely Canadian. He's definitely Canadian.
Is Morgan Wallen that big in Canada?
Oh, people love him here, mate. Like, they actually love him. They absolutely love him. They love. To be fair, I don't really go to like the country night, so I don't know what kind of music they're playing because I don't listen to country, like I said. But people do like him here.
Yeah, what music are they playing there, Mason?
If they're normal, they're playing Zach Bryan right now. But
oh, mate, loves that. Oh, mate, he. You know what? I'm gonna get into this, mate. I don't even care. He's actually dog. He's so bad. He's so bad.
I don't want to hear that.
No, mate. No, mate. So I might have to put. You know what? At the bio of this video, I might have to put my Spotify playlist in so people can absorb like the music I'm listening to, and they go, "Yeah, I can see why he says that now."
I'm gonna start sending you a Morgan Wallen, not a Morgan Wallen or a Zach Bryan song every morning.
Oh, mate.
Every morning for you.
I blocked on Instagram straight away.
Yeah. I would have did that too.
Dude, it's good music. It's good music.
I mean, there's a few.
There's one song.
Yeah, there's one song.
So sorry. What's your opinion on the current state of academy football, and what can they do better to give more players opportunity to show off their abilities?
Just a second. I think academy football right now, in terms of Europe and England, is okay. You know, it's not the greatest, but it's okay. I think there definitely needs to be more pathway for players into pro football. I think it's nice having a temporary, you know, play under 19s and under 21s, whatever it may be. But then after that, there needs to be, okay, you know, we're going to send him on loan, or we're going to give him a 1-year pro, send him on loan for 6 months, integrate him into the first team in the last 6 months. So I think there needs to be more of that. But I think a lot of people put all their eggs in one basket with academy football, and then they get hurt, and then they blame the system when really all they have to do is just blame themselves. I know that sounds harsh, but it's the truth, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know a ton about the academy system in America, but I've heard that it's like awful. It's extremely unorganized, I've heard.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
So-
no, I've heard in the States it's not. It's just it's like pay to play. It's like it's classist. Like
Yeah, very pay to play.
I would love to. I think we mentioned this last time too. I would love to like just make a whole video just talking about that because it's extremely like nepotism filled and
You learned that word.
Yeah, I know I did, but like it's like obviously you mentioned knowing the right people is important, but over here if you know the right people, then that's
You're
all
handed everything.
Yeah, that's all you need, and it's just it's awful. Now, would you ever consider, like, say, MLS calls or a team in the MLS calls, hey, we want you 1 year contract, 2 year contract. Are you going over there or are you staying in Canada?
You see, this is tough because me and my dad have had these conversations. Like I'm going to be as transparent as I can be, but Europe is something we're looking for next year. I've spoken to some teams in Spain and Portugal, and one of the things I would like is a long-term guarantee, not 1 or 2 years. I need a 3-year, 4-year kind of deal. Because I think the issue with that is once you play pro for 1 or 2 years, okay, your contract ends up. There's a change of management, new coach. Then what? What are you doing? I mean, obviously, like I wouldn't turn down into Miami. I'm going tomorrow. Like I wouldn't. I'm going tomorrow. Like I'm not turning that down. But I mean, like the nature of contracts is really important when considering a pro deal.
I'm just saying, if you did come to the MLS, I think Jack and I would have to go to at least one game.
Yeah,
probably root against.
Hopefully one day.
Probably root against you.
What?
Union.
He could give us like free jerseys or something.
Ooh. I mean, we might be your biggest fan.
Pair of gloves in it. Pair of gloves.
Yeah,
that's good enough for me. So, for someone who's played for a professional club, what's step one? What's step two to get there?
Already asked that.
You did?
Yeah.
For a win.
You did.
I did already ask that too. I added it into the question.
So you asked 2 and
tips
1.
and motivation. Yeah.
Same. Look at me. I suck.
Yep. All right. You can do that. We can cut all that out.
I was planning on it. I'm not going to be embarrassed.
All right, bro. Just
So is there anything else you want to say? Anybody you want to shout out?
No, not really. Not really. Nah, it's done.
All right. Thank you guys for watching Season 2, Episode 7. This was the Sports Geek Pod. Shout out to Cameron. We're going to have all of his social medias in our bio, in the description. So thanks again for coming on. We really appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, bitch so bad I wanna shoot like hoops while I'm riding in the coupe. I got what you want, it ain't nothing but a loop. Don't listen to friends, they don't know what's best for you. I want you, shoot like hoops while I'm riding in the coupe. I got what you like hoops while I'm riding in the coupe. I got what you want.